Hello everybody. This is the first in a series of videos that I'm going to create with some tips and pointers for using the graphing calculator. I'm going to create these videos with the intention of reaching somebody who has either never used a graphing calculator or it's just been a long while. So these are going to go back to some of the basics with the graphing calculator use. And I'm going to go through a few homework problems to show different features of the graphing calculator. So you can see here I've got one of the homework questions from section 1.2 on the left of the screen, and on the right I have got the graphing calculator. The one I'm using here is the TI-84 Plus. What we're going to do for this example, whether you have a TI-83, TI-84, or the TI-84 Plus, or one of the other variations, it's going to work the exact same way. There's a couple things that I'll be showing you down the road where there's some slight differences, whether you have an 83 or an 84, and I'll talk about those when we get to that point. But for today, we're going to do something pretty basic. We're going to look at graphing a function with the standard viewing window. The standard viewing window is the window that goes from negative to positive 10 for both the x and the y axes. If you press the window button on the calculator, x-min and x-max should go negative to positive 10. Same thing for y-min and y-max. My calculator is already set to the standard viewing window, but you can go to window and manually reset these yourself. There is a shortcut that I'll show you in just one moment. To graph this function, I'm going to hit the y equals button, and I'm going to enter the function as given. So we have 2x cubed plus 6x squared. So 2x, and I'm going to raise this up to the third power. Notice that my cursor is now up at the exponent level. If I use the right arrow, it takes it back to the main level. So let me continue, plus 6x squared. The little shortcut to square something is over here diagonally to the left from the number 7. If you press that, it automatically squares something and then automatically returns your cursor back to that main level. So I have my equation in there. My window is set up for the standard viewing window. If it was not, you could either manually go in and set it, or there is a shortcut. The shortcut is to press the zoom button and then number 6. Standard zoom is that negative to positive 10 for both x and y. If you use that shortcut by pressing zoom and then standard, it'll automatically graph your function for you. So when I'm comparing to the 4 choices we have here, obviously choice B. Then it also asks for you to identify turning points. When we look at a graph, we read a graph from left to right, just like we read words on a page. A turning point is where the graph goes from increasing or going uphill to decreasing. So we have a turning point up here. So you can see the graph is increasing, increasing, increasing. Then all of a sudden it starts to decrease. So there's one turning point. And then we have a second one as the graph is decreasing down here. It changes back up to increasing. So this one has 2 turning points. Turning points are always going to be the peak of a hill in a graph or the bottom of a valley in a graph. Those are always going to be your turning points. There's a couple ways that you can find these turning points with the graphing calculator. One of them, and I'm going to be honest, this doesn't always work, but one of them is with the trace button. So if you hit trace, it's actually going to automatically give us one of our turning points here. So that one turning point is the point 0, 0. This allows you to trace along the graph. The problem is when we look at this left turning point, the one that's the top of the hill, I'm not sure if we're actually getting that point. So if you want to be even more clear, there is another way to find these turning points. So like I said before, your turning points are either going to be the top of a hill or the bottom of a valley. We call those a maximum or a minimum point on a graph. I'm going to show you how to find this turning point here. That's the top of the hill, but it would be the exact same steps if you wanted to find the other one, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to hit the second button and then trace. That takes you to this calculate menu. So you'll notice choices 3 and 4 are minimum and maximum. If you're looking for the bottom of a valley, you'd select minimum. We're looking for the top of a hill, so I'm going to choose number 4, maximum. The process, though, works the same. Once you've selected minimum or maximum, it's the same process. It's going to ask you for a left and right boundary. So my point that I want is up here at the top of this hill. So where my cursor is right now, that's fine for a left boundary. I'm going to hit enter. And you'll notice that the graphing calculator, excuse me, has given me this vertical line to mark that left boundary. Then I'm going to arrow over to the right of the point and select my right boundary. And then it asks me to guess. So there's my rough guess. And then it gives me that point. The turning point in this case is going to be -2, 8. Sometimes, because the calculator uses different algorithms, it'll give you an answer like what we have here. Instead of a -2, it gives me -1.99999. If you have a case like this where you get a -1.999 or even a -2.000001, go ahead and round it to the nearest integer. So in this case, that turning point is -2, 8. So our two turning points are -2, 8, and then 0, 0. So if I were to enter this into MyMathLab, the order of the points does not matter. So you could easily put the 0, 0 first and the -2, 8 second, but you're going to list the 2 points with a comma in between them.